Hey, welcome back. It's You Made That, the kind of maybe weekly show that we put on every, Flurbs Day in some month in 2022, maybe? I don't know. I don't know the date anymore.
They're all running together.
Yes, they are. With us this week, myself and Rebecca DeGroot, and joined by special guest host, Tim Wadley.
That is me. Hi. Hey, everybody.
Some of you may know him as Chuck, but I'm going to let up on that and not call him that tonight.
I'll explain a little bit about that and how that happens as we go along, too.
Oh, I'm pretty sure everybody knows by now.
So, to that end, I'll go ahead and say that right now. The Chuck thing kind of evolved out of just circumstances, honestly. I always had a handful of Chucks, maybe 3 to 6 Chucks at any particular time.
That seems normal.
Yeah, and I was doing demonstrations for a couple different vendors. Mostly at that time, I was doing Nova Technical demonstrations at a couple symposiums and a couple local shows, things like that. But then when I went to go work for Rycon at the time was importing the record power Chucks, and so I was starting to use those in demonstrations. And so when I left Rycon, they gave me those Chucks, the samples. So that's how I started with that. And then a couple of years later, I was doing some promotional work for Record Power, which they gave me a couple Chucks and a full set of jaws to pass around for promotional stuff for people to get to know, and I got to keep those when I was done. Well, then part of that promotion, I don't know if everybody remembers, a couple of years ago with the AAW, I was involved in that contest where they were giving away the Chucks. Well, I entered on a whim on the open category, and I won the category. So in that category, I got 2 more Chucks, another full set of jaws, a lathe, and an extractor. So at that point, I had a bunch of Chucks. And then I went to the AAW and demonstrated for them, and they paid me in Chucks. And then, and then they came out with the new series of micro Chucks. And so they sent me more Chucks to process or to play with and test and product test and share around, things like that. And so honestly, in the last, I would say 10 years of turning, I've only bought 1 Chuck. Everything else has been given to me. Here, try this, or here, we'll pay you with this. So it's kind of, that's how I got to be that point. But I will qualify. There is at least one person I know of that has more Chucks than I do. Kirk DeHeer, who works over at Craft Supplies. I don't know if anybody knows him. When I first met him, it's been about 7 years now. 7 years ago now. He said, at that time, he says, I have 26 Vicmark Chucks, just Vicmarks. Doesn't count all the other brands he has. So I'm like kind of going, okay, so I'm not the only one with a Chuck addiction problem. So I'll let it be known. It's a growing thing. Hi, my name's Tim. I have a Chuck addiction problem. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
So that's where we got to that many Chucks.
Here's the burning question that I'm probably going to steal from Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to pick 1 Chuck to have for the rest of your turning career, what would that Chuck be and why?
And he couldn't have any other Chucks?
No other Chucks, just this 1 Chuck.
Just 1 Chuck.
Just 1 Chuck.
I would say probably, and it's based off the idea that I've not ever used a Vicmark Chuck at this point, so I don't have that as a comparison. I know they're beautiful, amazing Chucks, but I've had exceptionally good luck with the Record Power SC3 or its comparable, the Nova G3. So I'm extremely happy with the Record Power SC3. It's a really tight tolerances. It's very intuitive as far as the righty tighty, lefty loosey, as far as the gear operation, things like that. So if I had to choose one, I would probably go with that one based on the size of work I do, and just the stuff I do. That's probably the one I would go with.
I was surprised he had an answer for that so quickly. Oh, how am I supposed to pick? Oh, my God.
No, that's just me.
But that keeping that in mind now, since Rebecca got us all kind of started on gnomes and leprechauns and things like that, or maybe it was me just with the leprechauns. I actually used the microchucks that I got from Record Power as payment for turning it to AEW. They have a really neat little internal expanding step jaw. I think Vic Mark has one that's very similar to it. I have that I use for expanding into recesses. I can turn or drill a 5/8 hole and expand my chuck into it and hold the hats, or I turn the hats or finish them or do whatever else with I have a lot of capabilities with those little chucks.
5/8 hole.
Uh-huh. I'll send you a picture.
Yeah, that would be great.
I just brace yourself. I just put all my chucks and my tools up on my rack. You saw me post the rack today, so it's starting to fill back up. Of course, I still can't turn anything because the garage is still full of boxes and none of my materials in the apartment yet. But I'm getting there. So, but it's still too stupid hot here to turn right now. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, every time I go out to my garage, I'm like, okay, at least I don't have to pay to go to a sauna. This is kind of nice, I guess.
And I can't have a fan big enough next to me when I'm outside in this weather.
No, it's bad here right now.
Well, you have crazy humidity too, so
yeah.
we get 110 degrees and 30% humidity. We're dying. So.
Yeah, it's gotten so bad lately that like, okay, I'm real cheap when it comes to doing things around the house. If there's something that I can do, I will. And if it's something that's like electrical, I'll pay somebody else to do it usually. But electrical and plumbing, I'm not going to deal with all that. I don't want to ruin my house worse than it already is. But I'm always doing the yard work. Like I'm always the one mowing the lawn and like trimming the edges and doing all the stuff. The last 2 times, I'm just like, how much is it going to cost? That's a lot of money. That's fine. That's fine right now.
I did that at my mom's house this morning. And I'm working nights now, so I got up at the crack of dawn and went over to her house and was like mowing the yard and this heat here, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna go home and take a nap.
Yeah, it's not great. It's no bueno.
I'm lucky enough to have an air conditioner out in my shop, and even with that thing, I can't keep up. It's terrible this year.
Well, Jeff just got set up with an air conditioner too, but his like went out like the next day, didn't it?
Oh, did? I don't know. He didn't tell me that.
I thought that he had to have the guy come back out and make repairs already.
That's crazy.
I feel bad. I feel bad, but at the same time, he's got an air conditioner in his shop.
as we laugh at him.
Poor Jeff.
Poor baby.
So since we don't get a lot of time out in the shop right now because of the heat, and there's nothing else on TV, have you guys been watching the Olympics?
No? I've seen a couple. I've seen a couple of the awards and things like that. I've really tried to, because there's so much just everybody's trying to make a statement these days. I've just been trying to avoid anything where statements are being made. Yeah. It's just like, just do your thing. do your thing as well as you can, and so, just go about your business. It's like, good job.
Well, I'd noticed that there's apparently a new category this year for woodworkers Olympics, and Scott Grove was entered in them.
Yes.
I didn't see that one.
Oh God, there's like 4 or 5 of them.
I think there's 4 right now. They are probably the best thing to watch right now. Are Scott Grove's Woodworkers Olympics.
Is that on YouTube?
Amazing. They're just on his Instagram, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down here real quick.
Oh, they're so good. I was showing my other art teachers yesterday and they were cracking up. And they don't understand most of the woodworking stuff anyways, but still, you don't need to understand it to have a great time with this. Okay, I'm obsessed. I just pulled my dinosaur from the mold.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
So you're gonna have a Velociraptor incident then?
Oh, it's gonna be great. It's going to be a necklace and maybe earrings. Who knows?
Nice.
Definitely a necklace. Maybe a couple of headbands. Dinosaurs.
I just have to work this in. Clever girl.
Yeah, well, obviously it's not going to be a hairband for me. So,
It could be.
If I want to be fabulous or make some sort of statement myself, right?
Yes, yes.
I can
Dye
wear
your
hair
beard
like
It's
purple.
fabulous.
Yeah, I might go neon green. Green's more
Oh.
my thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
This is all white now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
Purple's good though.
Yeah.
Just saying, it works. I'm excited about this. So yeah, you wanna talk about what we've been working on? Because
Well, of
I've
course
been
I
working
do.
on stuff.
I have questions. So many questions.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Not a penis.
no, no. Well, let's not go there.
Oh,
Well.
figure it out.
Oh, Rebecca
or
poked a
come later?
Karen.
Oh yeah, I poked a Karen.
Oh yeah, I was part of that. I saw that. It was hysterical.
Who this woman
This
is. I don't know her. I don't think I do, but we don't have any mutual friends.
And she
I'm
called
just
you a
like-
brat too, didn't she?
She called me a saucy little brat.
Awesome.
and in like a series of 2 texts from her, I was demoted from a young lady to a little girl, and all over a picture of just an in-progress mushroom. I don't know what problem she could have had with that.
And honestly, having seen some of those things having been made by other makers I know, that did not look like one. It's just like that looked like a
Right?
mushroom cap.
It did, on a sticky chuck being finished and sanded and just ready to move on. But you know, if
Maybe it was that hashtag that you put along with it. Not a penis, I swear.
well, but it's not though. That's the whole point. Like, you know that if you just post that picture, there's going to be a few people that are like, well, I don't know what that is. It's like, but it's not.
That thing's
I'm
a
just-
grower, not a shower.
Is that- That's funny.
But either way, we had a full day of just lots of very interesting comments following that interaction, and it was
Well, it was fun.
really entertaining.
It was funny because I even saw that like post, how Facebook recycles them periodically, and I saw the most recent post. There was like 200 some odd comments related to that in that whole thread. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got some real traction on it. It was
Oh
hysterical.
yeah, like within maybe 10 minutes, I already had like the first 70 comments. It was crazy.
It's like,
There
get
were a
over
few more
yourself, Karen.
comments in Messenger that didn't make it on, though.
Yeah.
She wouldn't
Yeah,
let me.
I think, yeah, and Rebecca and I shared a couple of them too. It's like, who the heck does she think she is?
Right? And demanding that I tell my parents what I've done. Like, how old do you think I am?
I am not 12. I'm a teacher. I'm
Exactly.
educated.
I've been at this for a while. And I did actually talk to my mom about it, and she was laughing her butt off. So
That's funny.
it was great. It was all
See,
good.
I would have just come back with, well, both my parents died last year in a car accident.
Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you for bringing that up.
Thanks for rehashing a very painful
Yeah.
memory for me.
Yes.
Thank you for
Just to-
reminding
just to-
me.
That's funny. And you can do the same thing when somebody starts throwing off, like, you're in a small group, somebody starts throwing off, like, and he goes, underhanded little, almost, or racist comments. You can say, I'm part of that, right? Just to get them to stop and shush and think, it's like, I'm part Irish. Well, I say that because it's like somebody starts throwing out an Irish, I goes, well, I'm Irish, right? Like, it's just sorry, I wasn't trying to, just to get them to backpedal a little bit.
I mean, I could legitimately do that with quite a few things. Ooh, what you got there, Tim?
I've got I've been playing with, I've got a bowl of goodies here. And the funny thing, you're talking about that mushroom. I turned a acrylic top out of acrylics, which maybe I saw that and made me think about that mushrooms.
Oh,
Mushroom
nice.
cap. So it's the same kind of thing. I made this a few years ago, but it's funny. I went, oh, yeah, that looks like Rebecca's mushroom cap there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's really fun to turn acrylic when you've got the right kind or the right kind of resin. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I've used some that are an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember the names of the other ones, but they're just awful to work with, exploding and powdery, and just they cling to you and everything is
Oh,
gross.
yeah.
But I mean, I really enjoy Alumilite, but I also, my body does not enjoy Alumilite. So every time I use it, I've got like this bad reaction to it every single time. So, and it's in the liquid form and in the solid form. So I can't get away from the bad reaction, but I enjoy using it so much that I can't stay away.
So you do a hazmat suit then?
Yeah. Or like one of those zip up, like overall, not overall, but like the coverall paint suit things. Yeah. I've been thinking about that. I think,
but of course, it's only 1,000 degrees with humid in Houston, right?
Yeah. It's okay. I've got box fans.
Lots of box fans.
Yes. Circulation. That's what we need.
So I've been seeing a lot of silicon and burl casting and all the sorts of... What's up with that? What's going on?
So I've always wanted to cast a burl, and I've never had enough burl to really want to risk wasting part of a burl.
Barely have enough, huh?
But I've invested recently. Oh, that was good, Tim.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
You guys can see I've invested a little bit recently, and my whole table here is just covered.
Some nice caps there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I decided after I got my last order from a woman whose name starts with an M, who I need to look up to be able to pronounce. She runs Burls Galore, I think, the Facebook group. But she ended up, the prices are really nice, and the shipping's not too bad. I ended up getting 2 30-pound boxes of burls. Wow. So I was just like, all right, I can swing that. So I cut one of them up into a good sized mold that I can get a square blank out of, and then I used my first sample kit of the silicone mold that Andy Berkey recommended, because I've been having issues with like the blue silicone from Smooth On and the pink I think there's pink from Smooth On, but both of those I had issues with, and I was just like, which one actually works? And then he recommended the clear one, which is amazing, and it's super durable, which is what I need, and you can get so many pulls from it. So I tried that out, and I'm just like, I wasted the entire like $35 sample pack from Amazon, but it was fine because I got it within 2 days, and if I run out, I could just order another one and get it within 2 days. And I went through the entire thing on that one cast, and I was just like, okay, this is gonna be good. And I've gotten so many faux burls from it, but I'm also going through a lot of resin, and officially I've cast like 3 very large blanks, each one consisting of probably about 60 ounces of resin.
Oh my gosh.
And I haven't finished anything from any of them yet. So I need to get on that. I'm obsessed with the actual casting process. Like, I need to just start getting into selling my cast objects, not actually making anything out of them, but going into the business of selling cast things, because I am having way too much fun, and now they're just piling up everywhere, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but it's cool to look at and it's fun to do. So
exactly. do like a silent auction. And now, don't you think that Amazon has kind of spoiled us, especially in the last year and a half? You know, it's like, we get everything in a day or two. Oh, sweet, order it.
Yeah. I was actually like on the verge of ordering this the amazing casting resin, the one that turns white. And it was like $19.99 on Amazon plus the shipping and whatever. And I was just like, okay, cool. I can do that. And then I was just like, I think I've seen something like that at Hobby Lobby. So I actually left the house.
No.
I know. And I went to Hobby Lobby, and they had it for the same price. So I actually got to go to a physical place. Got really distracted with other things like unicorns and stuff. Yeah. but I was able to pick it up there, and now I know they have it. So if I do run out, I can just go to a place with people. And
people.
Yeah. And they stopped doing their discount. Like, they usually do like that 40% off discount on one regular price item. They don't do it anymore. And they've just stopped. And that's really disappointing, because I could get this for nearly half price. Less than Amazon. Yeah, I just have to put up with the people. But yeah, it's been odd. So I've been casting a lot. I've been doing some organizing. I did the I think we've already talked since AAW demo, and that was fun. Oh, something I have not announced to the world yet. Within the last week or so, for those of you who are going to be attending SWAT at the end of this month, I've been recently upgraded from a regional demonstrator to a lead demonstrator. So,
whoa, check you out.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
we know somebody who's big and important now.
Well, I mean, Jeff was already a lead too, so now
Well,
we're
we
going to
don't
be
acknowledge
lead
him that
buddies.
We don't acknowledge him much. So.
And I told Jeff about it. And I was like, dude, I just got promoted to lead. And he's like, awesome. Now I'm going to have somebody to hang out with. I was like, I was going to be there even if I wasn't a lead.
So you weren't going to hang out with me otherwise?
You're telling me you're only going to hang out with leads?
Well, that is the cool kids table.
Yeah.
Okay. I was always at the table in the back of the room throwing spitballs. No, well, not spitballs, but just kind of raising a ruckus, We made our own cool.
Yeah, shooting carrots across the cafeteria. Yeah.
Yep.
You won't be able to hang out with Bob now.
Oh, no. That's right, because Bob's a regional demonstrator.
Yeah. He smells funny.
Okay, that's enough of what I've been doing. I've just been doing a lot of stuff and trying to not think about how we go back to school on the 16th officially. We're already back with teachers, but students are back on the 16th. Oh, Let me tell you about this though. Fun things have been happening with my schedule. I last year and the year before, I've had Art 1, sculpture, ceramics, jewelry, AP 3D design, enrichment class that's focused on competitions. And I've got multiple levels within those sculpture, ceramics, jewelry classes, right? So I've got like 8 different preps that I'm dealing with. This year, they've added painting to a schedule that I already don't have enough physical room in my classroom to store all of the supplies that I need for all of those different things. And now I have 2 painting classes, one of which is combined with a sculpture class. And I keep looking at the potential outline of who's in that class. So far, it's got 55 students.
So I think they probably did that, and I'm listening. I'm getting another drink here real quick, but they probably did that because they've been listening to your podcast about how busy you are and all the little things you have going on up in the air and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably like going, you know what? Rebecca's got a lot to do, and she's handling it all. Let's give her something else to do.
Let's give her some more.
Exactly.
Yeah. She's so good at multitasking. She can handle this.
She's got this.
So we had all day on Thursday to just start setting up our classrooms, and I was looking around my room organizing all my stuff, and I was like, everything's gonna have to change. I'm gonna have to rework everything. Time for lesson plans? No. There is no time. It's all just doing.
So if we find you in the corner of the room singing "Everything is awesome," we will know you flip the switch.
You will know that I've been pushed too far. And so I think we talked about this on the pre-show. I did leave my purple hair down yesterday while I was around teachers and administration. And I got a lot of compliments from teachers and only 2 comments from APs. And one of them called me a purple people eater. And the other one just walked by the hall and said purple and kept walking. So I don't know. I don't know what's happening. They might actually allow me to be a visually expressive art teacher this year. Maybe. We'll see. I have combed through every single document over the course of the last week or so about dress code. And so far, I haven't found anything this year about hair color, just hairstyles, which I don't think style and color have anything to do with each other. And
so
the only thing,
go for the mohawk.
No, not this year.
Okay. All right.
And on top of that, so many people have been coming up to me telling me how much they love it and how if I do get away with it, they're also going to do it. Other teachers. Nice. So I feel like it's more of a positive environment when you actually let people look the way they want to look and express themselves in a completely harmless way. And I'm going to fight for it. So we'll see. We'll see how many write-ups I get this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking
Yeah.
of expressing themselves and how they want to look, have you gotten your tattoo machines
Not yet. Not
yet?
yet. But after my absolutely awful day on Thursday of setting up my room and crying once, and they lose my ID and my keys. So
Great.
I don't have my ID badge right now or keys to the lockers that a lot of my supplies are in. Um, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna start just walking into the tattoo shops and introducing myself. Hey guys, what's up? I'm cool. I'm cool. Let me hang out here a couple hours every few days.
Please.
Let me learn from you. So should be fun. It's definitely gonna happen soon, I think. Have you watched
Cool.
all the way through all of Ink Masters?
I've gone through Ink Masters and I'm watching it's a show it just started on Netflix. I forget the name of it. It's where they're basically fixing tattoos. I think Chris Nunez is the producer on it, and they're basically it's cover-ups, and they've got some really great tattoo artists on there that are just doing just cover-ups on a
Is it
one of the guys
Tattoo
is,
Nightmares?
it might be Tattoo Nightmares or
Okay.
I forget. I'll have to pull it up and take a look here. But yeah, I started watching it last night when I couldn't sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning because I'm used to working nights now. So it's like, oh, what kind of stuff can I watch in the middle of the night now? Okay, all the tattoo shows. Okay, yeah, got those done. Okay, next.
I
Which
mean,
now
there's
I'm
what
so
going.
obsessed. I'm so obsessed now. As I've got like multiple folders on my phone. Like, ooh, I want to do that. A variation of this. I want to do this.
Oh yeah.
I've got enough for 2 sleeves and pant legs.
Hmm.
So I'm like, the wife said, going, how are you going to pay for all this? I'll figure it out. I, I'll figure it out. I know somebody who's looking at becoming a tattoo artist. I'll just have to go to Houston or whatever show.
Yeah.
Be,
Yeah. Yeah.
be a
Wouldn't that
body.
be cool if between my demos I could just start tattooing people in the audience?
Especially, and I say with the young guard, and I'm including myself on this, because in the contemporary turning world, I'm still one of the young guys, even though I'm not young anymore. I'm still one of the young guys, and the young guys and younger, there's ink is no problem. It's like when you start
Hmm.
looking at some of the old guard, the old contemporary folks, the people that were the old guard when I first started turning, they it's like, no way, no, you can't, don't do that. That's
Yeah.
still a little too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Think about what you're gonna look like when you're 70 with that on your arm. And it's like, how are you gonna look anyways without it?
I'm just going to look a little bit more saggy than I already look right now.
Eh, if I make it to
just
70, I won't give a flip how I look.
yeah,
Exactly.
right? And I'm still gonna
Exactly.
have my purple hair. So
I'll still not have any hair. So
Purple
well,
hair
I
and the
mean,
varicose veins to match.
yeah, yeah. Or the bruised toe, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Oh, did I tell you guys what I did to my toe? I posted the picture on
No,
Instagram and Facebook. I dropped
I
my
missed it.
phone on it.
Your phone
My
destroyed your
phone.
toe.
Yes.
Is this your new
Stupid
phone or
phone.
the old phone?
It's my new phone. So I'm glad that it fell on my toe at least, sort of. Instead of directly on the ground. So because it was a hard fall. And it was only from like maybe shoulder height because I was putting something on a rack and I was fumbling because I was holding my phone in the same hand, of course. And because pockets. We don't have them as women in society. I hate that. Everything just needs to have extra pockets. All of it.
Yep.
Everything. Doesn't matter what it
Well, I
is.
was
My
thinking you're
headband, I
probably.
can have
I was
pockets.
thinking you're probably having a temper tantrum from Karen. Throwing that down and hitting your toe with
Oh no, I was laughing my ass off all day about that. Oh, and she
it.
did end up blocking me. So
Oh darn.
I know, no more fun. But yeah, it was my phone. It fell on my toe. I don't think it's broken because the bruising is still there and still very vibrant, but I can start to move it a little bit more. And I've broken toes on that foot before, so
Ugh. Ouch.
oh, it's no good. Yes. What were we
Back in
talking
the days
about?
when I was a power lifter, I dropped a 45-pound weight on my big toe.
Oh,
That was pretty. It bounced and I tried to jump out of the way and it fell on it. Yeah, it was not pretty.
oh my
Took me a few
gosh.
days. It hurt. Back in the days. Those were the days.
How much of your foot was broken?
just the tip of the toe. Just I didn't break the toe. Just like I lost the toenail, but it was just it hurt a lot. So
Ow. Ow.
I was very fortunate not to break my foot, so
Yeah.
or even break the toe. Just hit the end of the toe enough that broke the toenail and things like that. So, but ouch. Yeah.
Yeah. Ow. Ow.
I saw a video this past week of a bodybuilder who was bench pressing 220 kilos, which is
Lots.
north of 450 pounds, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And he tore his pec muscle off the bone while he was lifting. And
Yeah, I've seen that happen before. It's not pretty at all. Ugh.
they showed the bruise on his body after that, and it was just completely covered his arm, his chest, the side of his torso.
Oh,
it was everywhere.
Well, that's a surgical reattachment because that's a pocket of blood there. That's not that's not a fun one. No. Exactly.
Mm-mm. So what have you guys been working on?
So yeah, let's we're all cringing here.
Well, you can just skip right over me because I haven't been doing squat.
Nothing?
No.
I've been trying to stay cool.
Yeah.
I pumped out some orders for pen blanks that people had ordered, but other than that, nothing.
About the biggest thing I've been working on, I've been doing just trying to get things finally somewhat set up in the space so that when I get the boxes cleared out, I can actually start making stuff. But this is about the time of year I start laying out. Okay, I'm going to start doing these various origami things, and this is the time of year I can because I just sit and do it. But me and my boys start doing different origami things. My youngest is actually, they both do origami very well, but my youngest does various things. For Father's Day, he made me a origami lotus flower.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
And then we do various little cubes and things like that. And we've done these out of like different colored papers. We'll hang them up on a Christmas tree, a cube like that. And the big one that we do, and I'm actually going to do a couple series of them this year. They're called a Biscotta star. It's a 30-point star. I'll show you an example here. But I'm actually going to Xerox copies of Christmas music and make these music note stars. So basically, this is a big one of it. This is called a Biscotta star.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
It is 30 pieces of paper. It's a 30-point star, basically. And the idea is that they're about half the size. We'll hang them like this on the Christmas tree and and have Christmas music song, the pieces of paper with it. So when it gets hot, we do origami in this house.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah. Well, you saw the shirt and tie one I did. I posted on Instagram, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that out of a dollar bill. So.
That's awesome. I think
How long have you been doing that?
Shirt and tie done.
We've been doing origami here. I just started picking it up about 2-3 years ago, just for fun. Because when I worked nights, when I was working at the bank, it'd be like an hour between phone calls or whatever. So I had to do something because there are only so many shows that you can watch. So it's like, okay, I got to do something. So they're old and just because I get easily distracted, obviously. So it's like got to do something. So it would be something I would do. I would just do various pieces of origami and different stars. I'd find different videos on different things to make and just start doing those. And my sons do the same thing. They'll find various things and make them different types of stars. And we've made 4-point, 5-point, 6-point, even 7-point stars to hang on the tree. And they're just hang around. They're a lot of fun.
Did you learn how to make the crane?
My son does the crane. He actually does really well with it. He actually made this little butterfly one.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's cute.
Cool.
Okay, how about a dinosaur? Any dinosaurs?
He's made dragons. I'll have to see if he's done a dinosaur. I'll have to see if I can find it because they both always love dinosaurs. So we're all into the Jurassic World and things like that. So I showed them your cardboard dragon that's in your garage, and they love that. They're like, "Oh, that's cool."
Oh, that's awesome. So origami and anything else you've been working on lately?
Not so much. Just trying to get my ideas. I'm trying to come up with a list of things. I've had an Etsy page. It's kind of I've put very little effort into it over the last few years. I'm actually going to try to make a concerted effort on making things that I can actually put on there and market to sell a little bit more.
Hmm.
I've got a list of a few ideas aside from just ornaments that you've seen my ornaments and how I will hollow them and do things like that. Variety of sizes, but also and textures and finishes on those. But I also have been trying to come up with other ideas of utility things, but also decorative things. I've got an idea for some music boxes I'm going to do, kind of doing contemporary, kind of keeping them kind of simple in design, but also kind of pull some elements from like Hans Weisblog, what he does as far as
Hmm.
his the screens stuff that he does,
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
trying to include so the sound can come out and resonate, things like that. So
That's
try to
awesome.
work on that. I've had a lot of luck in the past selling like ring stands and um, spatula sets on Etsy. So I'm going to try to
Oh.
do some more of that. So I don't know if I have a sample of one of my ring stands here, but um, I don't think I do. But essentially, the ring stand will basically look like this.
Oh, that's
Then you set
nice.
the ring up. So now this is just a finial of one of my ornaments. This is one of
Hmm.
my ornaments I did.
Ooh,
A little picture
that's
Ah,
work.
nice.
Ooh,
Ooh, ah.
I
Now,
got that.
do you do the beads freehand or do you have a beading tool?
I have a beading tool. I have done them freehand, but when you're trying to get a bunch of stuff done as quickly as you possibly can, it's like, okay, I gotta knock this out. Yes, I know how to do it, and I know how to do the technique, and I'm fine with doing it. But it's like when you're limited on time and you can spend maybe 1 day a week turning, you gotta crank out as many as you can and things like
Yeah.
that. So, so you learn different things, and like then there's this one here. It's also another type of design element I did. I got the beehive and this type of element from one of the guys I follow on Instagram. I don't know, Scott. Oh, where did I put his name? I wrote his name down so I wouldn't forget it. Uh, Scott Alexander from Alexander Designs.
Okay.
He's a production turner out of Pennsylvania. He
Nice.
basically farms his own lumber. He's got a robust, but he does anything from he does stacking or he cores out all his bolts. So he does stacking sets, but he does them from like anywhere from 6 to 22 inches in diameter.
Oh,
Huge. He does
jeez.
them. Yeah, they're huge. They're beautiful, and he does them start to finish. So he gets them consistent, so they warp uh, gently, but he has the grain so balanced on them, and he does such an impeccable job on them that they don't crack. They're very consistent, so that the movement he does get out of them is very balanced. So it's a
Yeah.
very nice approach to it. So he does an amazing job. So it's his Instagram is Alexander Designs 814 if you want to look him up.
Hmm.
He does some amazing stuff. Super nice guy. He apparently was I think he was a photographer for a long time, but he farms his own lumber. A lot of times he has got a sawmill that he gets stuff with. He's a full service production turner. That's what he does. And you've seen like Matt Cremona and what like Glenn does over in Ireland. Glenn Lucas does over in Ireland.
Hmm.
It's the same basic setup he does, but it does it here in Pennsylvania. So
That's awesome. I already follow him, it looks like.
yeah,
But
super nice guy.
yeah. Yeah, that's so cool. Oh my God, there's so many.
Yeah,
I want a bowl coring thing, but that would just be another thing to distract me
another
from.
thing. Yeah. Which is precisely why I've like moved away from a lot of my flat work because it's like, ooh, it's so easy to get distracted. Like if I'm going to focus on this, let's just focus on this, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I had a bunch of boards a while back, and I think I talked about it on the podcast. And I just started like cutting up like all the boards and planing them down and getting them all like cut with the miter angle corners and everything. And I was like, I'm
Yep.
gonna glue these up into boxes, like
And then what?
square boxes. And now I've got a section of my shop that's filled up with box walls. I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna do this again. Maybe when it cools down, I'll be able to actually go back out there. But like, I keep using my table saw as a table.
Yeah.
And not as a saw. They should just take that out of the name, and maybe I won't do that so much, but
Maybe, yeah.
maybe if I just like I need those things that they have to keep birds off of signs, like the little spikes. If I
Yep.
just put those over everything I should be using as a tool and not a surface to put things on, maybe I
Yeah.
won't put down so many things. But then again, maybe there'll be a tool to hold things up that won't otherwise.
Exactly. Because you know, as soon as you get a flat surface, it's going to end up being this kind of storage. It's going to catch
Yes.
everything. So yeah,
Yes. Can't stand it. I just need to hide the flat surfaces from myself. That's all.
exactly.
Yeah. So, Tim.
Yes.
Oh, Mike, it sounds like you're going to ask a question.
No, I was just about to say that it sounds like I have some dogs I have to go yell at. So
Okay.
you go ahead, and
Okay.
I will mute myself while I go scream at the dogs.
Okay, go yell at
Nice.
your dogs, but be nice. Okay, Tim.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to start asking questions that Mike's probably
Okay.
going to want to know the answer to, but then you'll just
Okay.
have to repeat yourself or tell him that
Oh,
you
okay.
already answered it.
Plead the fifth. I prefer not to answer. Don't want to incriminate myself, right?
Oh no, I'm gonna start the actual
Sure.
interrogation process. Where were
All
you
right.
on the night of? Never mind. How did you get into wood turning? Who was your main inspiration? Who got you started, first of all, and when was it?
So when I was finishing up my bachelor's, I was like the last semester or two, I was like, oh, no, I want to do something fun. I'd always had some sort of woodworking and was like a little bit. I mean, I first started doing woodworking when I was 12 or 13. One of my friends his grandpa had a little shop. So I'd go down there and cut things out on his bandsaw and things like that. So I was like always intrigued by it. So my last year or two of finishing my semester or two of my bachelor's, like, oh, I want to do something fun and creative because I'm stressed out because I'm trying to finish up the coursework because it's,
Mhm.
those last few core classes. I have a medical science-based degree, so it's like they're not very fun. They're a little stressful and trying to get all the coursework done on that. So I graduated from Arizona State, so we had a really prolific and they still do have a very prolific art program there. And there was a artist in residence there named Tom Eckert. I don't know if you've ever heard his name.
I have.
Does some pretty interesting stuff, and I'll talk about that in a minute. He was the professor of the wood shop there. So I was like, you know what? Let's go see what it is in. So, and I went in there and started taking classes and then started seeing what everybody else is doing. But then I also started seeing the stuff he was doing.
Mhm.
And he does, and I forget the actual artistic name of it. He will do something where, and this started back in the 70s or early 80s, probably 70s, where when he first started painting, he was a kind of an airbrush painter. He was painting motorcycle tails. So he started doing these carvings. He works primarily in basswood, but he would take these silk scarves and like drape them over a cactus or over the edge of a table. But then he would use that as his model. Then he would carve it and paint it. So when he started submitting to galleries, he wasn't getting accepted because they would think he just draped a silk scarf, like an aviator scarf, over the edge of the table. So when he wasn't getting any notice, and so he was like being just like discounted.
Oh my gosh.
So he started including process pictures of showing him actually cutting the wood and carving the wood and doing all of this, and then showing him painting. And they realized that this was actually wood. He's actually sculpting this. This is not. So one of the big things he did is he started draping like a silk scarf over like a saguaro cactus where some of the tines would start poking through. So he would carve that. But not only would he carve and paint it, he'd also paint the shadows of the cactus or the object underneath the scarf into the scarf. So if there was like a shadow, so he now he's working with like a lot of opaque blacks, so black scarves. So that's what a lot of work he's doing now. He's in his upper 70s or 80s now, but he's still working. He's long since retired from Arizona State. But Larissa Safarian follows him quite a bit, and I think knows him pretty well. But he's really the one, and would be nowhere near but the quality of his work, but he's the one that got me kind of interested in being able to like look at things from an artistic standpoint, just kind of go, whoa, look at that. And he was part of that realm of adding color and adding texture before anybody really was. He was in the group of the original contemporary artists that used turning. He was knew the Moulthrops. He knew I think David Ellsworth in his early days and things like that when David was still doing big stuff. David's doing a lot more of the small stuff now. And I can definitely relate because I'm definitely not the strong guy I was 20 years ago, lifting bigger pieces onto the lathe and willing to tackle them. But it's like, I like doing small stuff now. But
Yeah.
but getting to and understanding the process and being able to look at form and seeing the form. And this is where I think a lot of people that are in the YouTube generation don't get. There's so many people putting things out and putting content out that really don't have the eye for it. They don't understand what they're looking at. It's like, okay, I've got a cast in wood material. I'm going to throw away. I made this dog dish. Now it's set for sale for $150. It's like, well, where's the design in that? Okay, you cast it, fine. Use a crap piece of wood, fine. But if you're making a dog dish, there's no real design element there. There's no real beauty to it. Because I mean, look at like William Hunter, and he was one of the first guys that I looked at. The work of Ben Foe. Look at even a Fabergé egg. If you look at, regardless of how beautiful, ornate, and how much is involved in making those, you go beyond that and look deeper into it. There's still a simple form, and a balanced simple form. There's not just here's a semi-round type of egg. You look at a Fabergé egg; it is a balanced form of an egg with all kinds of embellishment on it. So it's like but I don't think any of that embellishment would work if that form wasn't balanced. You look at William Hunter's work, all the little cuts, all the swaying of the flame. Neil Turner in Australia, his work is very fluid, but you look at the basis of his form. Paul Fennell, their forms are balanced. They're simple forms that they embellish, and that's what, in my eye, and again, I'm not like a trained artist, but I've been around it long enough that's what makes that work because it makes it appealing to the eye. It has to be a balanced form. Because I mean, if you turn something that's straight sides, flat bottom, unless you're going for a perfectly straight sides, perfectly flat bottom, being like perfectly contemporary, it doesn't work. It's just like there's work because I mean, you can do straight sides, flat bottom, but to get that contemporary look, but it has to be straight sides and perfectly flat bottom in order for that to work.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're more of an artist than I am, so I'm sure with your design background on that, that's things you've seen in your process as well. It's like,
oh yeah, for sure. Like I know you mentioned earlier David Ellsworth, like, and he talks and he kind of beats this into you, the idea of an uninterrupted curve. And if you have a curve that's flowing from the bottom of the piece up the sidewall and then all the way up through the top of the piece, you're going to have a much more pleasing form than if anywhere on that curve you have any type of flat section, even if it's like the height of the piece where you've got a curve from the bottom to the side and then it goes straight for like half an inch. It's gonna freak people out and they're not gonna know why, because they might not even see it, but it's just gonna be like, what is wrong with that piece? I don't like that one as much as I like the other one.
Flow.
Yeah,
it interrupts the flow. And there's people I've seen that turn beautiful ideas as far as finials like on for their ornaments and things like that, or turning and they've got some beautiful ideas, but there's interruption in the flow of the form, and it's like, that doesn't work for me. Great idea, but it stops here and it's too short here or too jammed together in this spot here. So there's got to be a flow. I guess my whole thing is I'm very critical of my work, so if I look at something, I'll go, yeah, I don't like that. It stops there. It doesn't work. This doesn't work. I don't like this. Whereas I offered to somebody that, oh, this is beautiful, this is great. Like, well, I don't like it. And I'm super critical of my own work, so it's like, I don't like it.
I mean, I think we all have that in us, is just our absolute worst critics. Like, I know I do, and it's a curse. It's an absolute curse, because like I will spend 30 hours on something, and by the time I'm done or what I think could be acceptably done, I'll look at it and I was just like, I really don't like this at all. So I'll just hide it away and never show anybody. And
well, this is kind of why I also have like a small network of people that whose opinions I trust. You, Jeff. I don't know why I trust Jeff, but I don't know if you talked to Mike Roper. He goes by Roper wood turning. There's and a couple others I'll get. What do you think of this? There's something I don't like about it. What is it you see that you may not like about this? So I will like present it because it's like they're opinions of people who I trust. It's like I know that I'm not going to get a candy coated. Oh, that's beautiful, whatever. It's like no, I'm asking because I want a
like
legitimate feedback.
Critical feedback.
Exactly. I need feedback. If I'm trying to do something, I have an idea that's working. I need to know what element I'm working on isn't working.
Yeah. When I was in college, we had regular critiques because I went to an art school, so it was always like you did the project, and then at the end of the project, you'd have a full class critique, and everyone would like present their piece. You'd get feedback from those who felt like actually sharing and giving the feedback. And me being the shy person that I was at the time, I would never really speak up. But there was one teacher, he knew that I was thinking a lot about what I found wrong with the stuff. So every single time, I swear, I would have to start speaking up before he'd get to me, because if I didn't say anything throughout the critique, he'd be like, okay, Rebecca, you're up. Tell everybody what's wrong with it. And I was like, no.
Putting you on the spot.
And he would make me point out what I thought was visually wrong with whatever it was that was up on the critique table. And I was just like, why do you do this to me, Bob?
Well, and I think going through Tom's classes at ASU when I was there was great because he was an artist and it was a part of an art program. So we'd have those as well. And then, so I got to see good critiques there, but then also with the local clubs, I got to see some good and bad critiques. So I think at this point, since I've been doing this for a while, I know how to give a good critique. So critique is important. And when you talk to new turners, they don't understand that a critique is important. Because if you don't take a critique and learn to take constructive criticism, then you're never going to progress.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was really important in my own schooling. And then as an art teacher as well, having students actually show what their piece is, accept that criticism in a positive way, not in a way that you're just like, oh my God, why are they being so mean about it? It was like, not everything's going to be perfect. Like I've got so many kids in Art 1. And I was like, I expect you guys to suck when you get into my class because you've never done any of this before. If you don't suck, you shouldn't be in this class.
Right.
Like, I want to see that you've improved from really terrible to not as bad at the end of the year. Hopefully good, but we'll work on that,
Exactly. And then they're also learning how to give constructive feedback without tearing somebody down completely.
Exactly. Like Bob made me do.
You suck.
No. It was always like, I talked to them about it too, like in a critique as well, you've also got to learn how to defend your decisions too. And if you have a reason for doing something,
speak up.
Exactly. Tell your audience, because that's the only way that they're going to know if it's not something that you can visually see the reasoning behind it. And as woodturners, we have to do the same thing. Like there's a reason that I make a lot of my pieces like completely jet black. Like I want to focus more on the form and the unity of the form rather than distracting you with the 3 or 4 different types of woods that I put into it to make it the best structural piece. And if it creeps people out a little bit more than it's all black, okay.
All the better.
Yes. Yeah. but no, that's really cool though, and it's nice that you actually had that resource when you were in school to have somebody there that really understood what was going on and could do that. Do you still stay in touch with him now?
Periodically, I'll reach out to him and talk with him, but he retired a few years ago. So there's somebody else there now. Apparently, every now and then I'll pop in there and take a look at the shop. I don't know anybody in there anymore, so I don't want to like intrude anymore. So I don't want to just pop in there anymore. But it's a pretty good. It's based on the sculpture program, so they have a lot of lathes in there. So they do actually quite a bit. And I saw a lot of those folks coming in asking questions about turning. And when I worked at the local woodcraft store, I'm doing this, and we don't have a lot of equipment for this and this, so I want to do carbide. And it's like, well, you can do this if you take a little sharpening class from me, or let me teach you a few things about sharpening. I can show you how to do this. And a lot of times, just because they were just doing it for the class itself, they would end up going with the carbide anyway. But it's like every now and then, that one of them would come in a bit later and say, okay, I'm finished with my program, but I'm still interested in turning, and I would actually like to learn how to use the actual tools. So I would be able to show them and teach them how to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's fun. Okay, so you talked a lot about Tom and his kind of guidance. Is he who got you started in wood turning specifically?
Yeah, because actually, I meant to go into that, because when I walked into the shop there was nobody actually using any of the lathes there. So I'm like, I'd turned a lamp or something like that before. It's like, I want to use, can we use the lathes? Well, yeah. Well, here's what you need to do. So he got me into doing turning. And I don't know that he was actually ever really taught any real technique. So it was like, here's the tool, just kind of stab at it. So I use a lot of sandpaper. So my first couple of experiences with turning and producing anything turning wise were just stab at it and use a lot of sandpaper. And then shortly after I graduated, I was had an opportunity to take a class from Richard Raffin. So this was a little over 23 years ago or 24 years ago. So he was basically in his prime as far as instructing and stuff. And I was always turning slow, was very deliberate in everything I was doing. Again, lots of sandpaper. He actually showed me how to use the tools, and then showed me how to turn fast. So I'm very known for turning very fast now. So it's like people are like, wait a minute, wait. Like I've done in the last 3 years, I've done 2 demonstrations for our local club. The one I did this last time, it was all skew techniques. So I took my sweet time with it. But the one I did previously, I prepared this stacking tiered bowl set, lidded bowl set. And I did a demonstration on that, and I got it 3 tiers, got it all done with a lid within an hour. And I'm like, sorry, I'm done.
Thanks for coming. This was my TED Talk.
Pretty much. So, because most of the time it had been a while since I'd done a demonstration. So it's like everything I'd been doing has been, again, production style, just get it done quickly, or had been done at a trade show floor, like a AEW or SWAT type of environment on the sales floor. So it's like turning quick, being able to interact quickly and produce something. Oh, here you go, show it off or whatever. So that's kind of where I'd been for a while. I was like, oh wait, I have to actually slow down and talk about what I'm doing while I'm doing it. And so I was like, okay, see this right here, this technique, show it repeatedly, so it wouldn't get over extended on that. So the last demonstration I did for the local club, I actually used the whole time. I made sure I talked really slow, didn't get myself excited, because like you, when you get excited, I start talking faster and get real animated. Start cooking. So
I know how that is.
So I made sure I slowed down and worked all the way through it and was showing the process. And I think the whole process was that I was able to show them how to do it all with the skew, and they were all like just jaws on the ground, because I was doing spinning tops. I was doing I did a complete finial. I did what else did I do? I did a couple other things with just skew, and these people were just like, or I did a spatula with a skew, and people were just like, you did it all with a skew? Yeah. It's like, well, how many skews do you have? I said, maybe a dozen. Different sizes, shapes, grinds. It just depends on what I'm doing. So it's like, yeah, I have a lot of skews. Again, I have a lot of tools for the same reason I have a lot of chucks. Okay, so we'll just leave it at that. But yeah, so Richard Raffin was one of my first technique skill builder, he's who I pretty much credit with all the skills that I have right now. But I have been fortunate to take a couple other classes with some other folks. So one, I think, is another guy is retired. I think he retired in Spain. Chris Stott. He was a guy who liked to use who do simple forms, and he liked to use the color of the wood. Did not like to do any color embellishments. Didn't like to do anything like that. He was kind of stodgy old British guy that's now retired in the in the in the Spanish countryside. But I also took a class from Stuart Batty, who is also a speed demon, but Soren Berger out of New Zealand. He does really interested in multi-axis scoops, and that was one of the big things I did in his class. And that was he and Christoph both challenged me to work on multi-axis turning, and that was a lot of fun as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the
it would be.
Yeah, and the guy who kind of boggles my mind right now for multi-axis work is Max
Rossi. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And you saw AEW, the piece I did that I showed you that he had talked, or did I show you that?
I don't know. Maybe.
Let me go grab it real quick.
Maybe.
So you know all the plywood pieces that I was gluing up and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So I did a bunch of blanks like that, and I was able to make one of my checkerboard style blanks out of the plywood, and I turned it, made a cube out of it, and I turned this.
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
I blew a couple up, and the cool thing with it was that. And the cool thing about Max is I messaged him. I said, "Okay, Max, this is what I'm doing." I sent him a whole series of pictures. I said, "This is what I'm doing." And I've blown up a couple this way. And he said, "Oh, just do this and this, and you're on the right track." Two simple little things, and it's like okay. So it's like, and so I've got ideas for doing a few more of these, a little bit bigger, multi points and things like that. But yeah, when I've shown these to people, I'm like, wait, that was done on a lathe? Yeah, all of it. A little bit of power sanding and carving here in the little areas here, but for the most part, yeah, it was all the. How in the world? I said, well, it starts off as a cube. How did this start as a cube? It's like, that's the joy of turning. Yeah, that's
exactly.
Figure things out. Oh, here, I found one of my ring stands. Actually.
Oh, that's pretty.
I'm kind of under a yellow light here. Sorry, everything's yellow here. But then the other one I'm really intrigued on, where I would like to go is I'm intrigued but yet still freaked out to do it. Is David Springett's stuff with the wood turning full circle, doing its strepedrons and things like that. This is one of his books.
Oh yeah, those are so cool.
Hmm.
You have to really think and plan through that whole process.
Yeah.
You can't just like fly by the seat of your pants.
Yeah. And I've got this one too, and there's no way I can get this one. These kind of things like freak me out. The person I've watched that does a lot of these is on Instagram. It's Wood Dolls One. He's out of Russia, and he does some amazing stuff with that. And does does a lot of the Chinese spheres, internal captive spheres inside of spheres. Mm-hmm. He's made all the tooling himself. He's very much like Wes Tilley. You know who Wes is?
Yeah.
He's a nut. He's a nut. I like him. Funny story is when I met Wes, I was demonstrating up at a Utah symposium, which they unfortunately don't have anymore. But I was demonstrating, and he was sitting in the front row of my demonstration. He goes, "Yeah, I'm going to build my own lathe." And I've heard so many people say that over the years. Like, I'm building my own lathe. I'm like, going, okay, that's good. Good for you. Then I started following.
Sure, you are.
So, well, I'm a machinist. I said, oh, okay, cool. Then I looked him up, and then I watched the process of him building his lathe, and I was like, jaw on the ground. Then he's made his own eccentric chucks, and he took the plans for a Rose engine that's usually done of MDF. He machined it, and he keeps adding on to that thing all the time. He's just he's as far as that kind of work out. I just yes, I'd say.
Yeah, some of that Rose engine stuff that he's been doing lately is just amazing.
Oh, he's such an easygoing guy too. That's what I love about interacting. Cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Builds these massive snow blowers for the state of Idaho up there, and the other times he's like, I'm playing around in my shop. Using scrap, whatever. His scraps are a heck of a lot different than our scraps, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Michael, you've been awful quiet up there.
I'm a quiet kind of guy tonight.
Okay.
Oh. Except for when he has to yell at the dogs.
Yeah.
So So, Tim,
Yes.
I like to ask, how long has your longest piece taken to make?
Let's see.
Or have you been working on one that's taken longer than anything else and you still haven't finished it, I guess?
Well, I think I showed you a few pieces, and I like to turn spheres as well, especially as the plywood stuff that I've done, the blanks I've made, and those are probably by far the most things that have taken me a long time. So I'll sit there and start curving on them. Then I'll say, okay, I'm liking how this is going. Then I'll get like kind of like stumped as far as the direction I want to go, and so I'll set it down and not even maybe not touch it for months. And so the last time I was showing you any carving on that, it had been 6 to 9 months since I'd carved on the piece before. Now, since I've moved and things are still in storage and it's still too hot to do anything outside, it's been probably about 4 or 5 months since I've touched it now since. So it'll probably be another month or two before I'm able to spend any real time out in the shop just because of the weather, it's just so hot. So I'll probably start doing a little bit more carving on that. Since I don't have any fancy saber tooth yet. I've got the old Cutsaw. I've got some old Cutsaws that are kind of along the same lines, but they've got the original Cutsaws, but aren't nearly as effective as the saber tooth cutters. I've just used a couple before, but yeah, it takes a little bit longer and they're a little bit rougher, not as clean of a finish cut.
Well, Tim, if you did want to go and get some saber-tooth burrs, you could just go to sabertooth.com and enter YMT at checkout and save 10% off on your entire online order. Yes way.
No way.
Yes way. Total upgrade.
So sweet. So I did that segue just for you. Perfectly.
Seamless.
But wait, there's more.
You were born to be on this show.
My schedule's pretty open, so.
But yeah, no, it's like I feel you with just being stumped on a project and not really knowing what direction to go. Like, it's hard. It's hard to get out of that too.
Yeah, and there's, and I know I'm gonna hate myself, but I can't remember his name now, but he does a lot of the spheres with the stuff and like the stars included him. Super nice guy, and he's willing to share his information. And he does big versions of like the triangles. And I know that you and I have both talked to him. I can't remember his name right now. It's going to drive me nuts. So I'll probably message you probably 2 hours from now, going, "Oh, this is the guy's thing." Not stars. He does sometimes like spheres with the big voids in them. And,
oh no, I don't know.
And since I'm using my phone, I can't look them up right now.
Well, you'll think of it like at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Of course, I'll be awake. You guys won't be, but I will be.
I might be. I'm still on summer schedule.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, it's just definitely. I get stumped sometimes. So it's like definitely when I like sit there, I don't want to like rush it, but I definitely want to do something. I keep trying to figure out a chucking system so I can hold the spheres off center but maintain balance, so I can do turning and hollowing or remove material without save some time. Just because the speed side of me wants to like go be fast about it. And it's like no. Sometimes it's important just to stop and let it sit for a little bit, and then take the time with it. Because there is importance in being patient and stopping as well and waiting.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I know, crazy.
Yeah.
And then do fun, silly things as well, like making dinosaur heads and things like that.
Yeah, I like him. I'm also casting one of my baby hands, so I can cast them in different colors. It's gonna be
funny. I'm gonna start making a few more silly things just for fun as well. Like did I ever show you these?
Oh, it's an F-bomb.
Yeah, make a series of those as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
I found a guy on Etsy that makes F-bombs, but they're hand forged. So they're about 40 pounds of cast iron with wire braid
fuse.
Yeah, for the fuse.
Oh, nice.
And,
that's awesome.
I'm going to get one for my daughter.
So there's actually a metal guy that I follow right now, and he's makes me it's funny as all get out. Did I not write him down? Oh, jeez. I I tried to make notes of everything, but he and I'll send you the he basically takes old nuts and bolts and he makes little like tikis almost, and then he forges them and he hits them, and they're hysterical. I mean, I was doing the scrap monsters I was doing a year or two ago. He does basically the same kind of thing, but he uses metal. He forges them and puts these little tiki faces in them, and they're hysterical. He's down in South Texas too, so he's not too far from me. But they're hysterical. But then I like to do funny, silly things. I think I try to, because let's face it, there's a lot of people in the turning world that take everything so seriously. And
Way
it's like,
too seriously.
lighten up. So, being a man of a certain age, I've had to have certain medical procedures. So, I've gone to a couple times when I've gone to the doctor. I've taken a couple things like this with me. And I actually made one for the pharmacist where I get the big bottles, because he said, "That's hysterical." I said, if I could have a couple of these big monster medicine bottles, I said, I'll bring you one. So every time I've gone to the pharmacy, you could see it sitting up in the window.
For
awesome.
those of you who are listening and couldn't see what he had, it was a stool sample.
Yeah, a stool in a stool in a medicine jar.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do this summer, Rebecca. We didn't issue like a group challenge in any of the groups. Remember the top challenge we did last summer?
Yes.
The mini top.
Yeah, the tiny tops.
Yeah,
I know.
This is a medicine bottle. I did one of these all the ones I did last year. I ended up with one that was around 1.5 millimeters. It was the smallest one I did. So.
Yeah, I think I had some about that size too. I actually I went and did some demos at Hamilton Lee Supply, where Henry's working right now. It's like a slab place, and we're trying to do like a monthly maker meetup. So I think our next one's a week from today. And I have one of my mini lathes over there. So I turned a vase and I turned a bowl and I turned like a bunch of tops for the little kids that were all there. And they were just like, okay, like ready for the next top. And I didn't take the little tiny piece of wood off of the chuck that was left over. I was like, no, I'm going to make a couple more. And they're like, a couple more? I was like, yeah, no, you'll see. So I made like two or three more tiny baby tops. And like the last one was maybe like less than a 1/4 inch across. And like I could still like just barely spin it in my hand. But they're just like, how?
Yeah, I think a couple of ones I did for that little challenge, I used a bamboo meat skewer, that you get in the cooking section at the store. They said, "Oh, throw a piece of bamboo in there," and there you go.
Yeah. Well, Steve Sinner does little goblets, and he uses I think it's like maybe a 64th inch drill bit to drill out the inside of the goblet, and like he just takes like tiny little dowels and uses those as his thing, and he ends up I think he takes a chisel and grinds away everything but like the last 16th inch of the chisel, and he uses that as just a tiny little baby skew and does it. And he just like does the whole thing, and I've got this tiny little baggie of 4 little goblets in there, and you're like, I have to put my glasses on to be able to see them. Yeah, craziness, but he taught me how to do that at one of Ron's retreats, and it was awesome.
That's fun. So yeah, that was a fun challenge this summer. We got to figure out little challenges like that again. So.
Yeah, well, we're hosting a challenge until the end of this month.
That's right. You're doing, if I caught up correctly in the correct order, candlesticks, right?
Yes. So a set of 3 matching candlesticks. They can be anything, using any process, but you have to have made them within the month of August or whenever it was that we announced it. I think it was like mid-July that we announced it.
I think so, yeah.
So you have to have your pictures of your material, progress photos, and the final photos of the pieces.
Well, considering I don't know where my wood is right now, we'll see what I can come up with if I can do that.
Well, I mean, we didn't even say that it has to be wood. Maybe you could do it out of origami.
Ooh. That could be hot, especially with an open flame.
Just dip it in some resin. It'll be great.
Yeah, okay, cool.
That could actually be pretty cool.
That could, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Got me thinking. Great. I'm not going to be sleeping tonight anyway, so it'll give me something to think about.
Do you have a piece that you've let go of that now you regret that you let go of it?
That's normally the question I steal from her.
Actually, there is one little ornament. Actually, it was kind of a combination of a birdhouse acorn style ornament I did. I took a picture of it and I sent to, when I demonstrated in China, I sent it to them because so they could put up on their work. It was really kind of odd being there and you seeing a big, huge blow up of one of your pieces on one of their banners. It was, I was demonstrating for the company that makes lathes for several other tool companies. I was demonstrating for them in China, in Shanghai. That was an interesting experience in and of itself. But seeing a picture of your work blown up that big, and I'd given that to a friend of mine. I'm glad he has it. At least I know where it is. But it's like, it was one of my favorites. It was like, I did that. That was really cool. I liked seeing that, and I liked how that turned out. But it's like, it's gone now. I'll never see it. I'll never see that again.
Oh.
I don't think I even have a picture of it. So I think it was, I had made that before the phones, or all the phones had pictures on or cameras on them, you know, so for good quality. So it's like, oh well, I'm glad. I know he has it. I'm glad it's for he and his family, and they're a couple of my favorite people, or they're some of my favorite people. So I'm happy they have it. So
that's cool. At least it's in a good home. Like I know that I let go of one of my pieces in the past, and I've been on the podcast talking about it multiple times. The gnaw, my little box with the teeth for the finial or the handle.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That thing was gone within a couple days of finishing it. I didn't get to bond with it at all.
Oh,
I didn't get to like put it up on a shelf and stare at it and be like, I wonder what I'll do next. No, it was just like, okay, I finished it, got it in the show late. And then as soon as it was in the show, like 2 days later, I got an email from Larissa like, hey, your piece sold. Congrats. I was like, no.
I didn't give me, I got barely one picture of it. You know?
Like, that was too fast. I didn't charge enough.
I know. I hate, that's one of the things I hate. It's like, especially if you're making something and you say, how much for this? It's like, you throw out some weird, crazy number and like, okay, you're like,
damn it. Yes.
I should have charged more for that. Wait, let's back up.
I meant this much.
I love her work. She does some amazing work.
Larissa? With her eggs. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
She's got like a lineup of all the shows that she's got going on right now. It's just awesome.
Yeah. She just had an opening in LA, I think. No, I think so.
Yeah.
Saw some of the pictures of it. It was beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's blonde now. Oh. I know. I was like, wait, who is that?
I'm enamored with anybody that has hair.
I'm just gonna start like purple bombing people at my school, like with the little spray can, like I did at Ron's that one year. Nice. Just go around like, gotcha.
But
now who's going home?
Is that how Scott Grove got the purple hair?
I don't think so, but you never know.
I thought Sally was doing that on her own anyway. Sally.
Well, Sally got started at Ron's when we were doing the purple bombing. So like we had it real strategically mapped out, like, okay, do it here. We had like papers like cut out and just pulled that strip through and then like just sprayed that one section and like styled it all up nice. And then now she's still doing it like years later. I love it.
That's funny.
Oh, it's great.
I remember going to the AAW, the last in-person AAW we had. It was funny. So I'm sitting there climbing on the plane. And I was walking down the alley here. Tim! Sally! Hey! How are you? And I was already on the plane with Paul Fennell because he was leaving from Phoenix. So it was like, I know Paul from the local club here. I've known him for years. Super nice guy. And he really is a rocket scientist if anybody ever talks to him. He's super smart.
Yeah, no, he is so nice. I got to hang out with him when I went to SOFA Chicago, and like got to go out to breakfast with him and his wife and a couple other people and Jeannie do freight. And it was so pleasant. Like he met my mom and my stepdad, who are my mom and my stepdad, and like it was wonderful. Like so friendly, so nice, and so encouraging and supportive too. That's the kind of people that you need to surround yourself by.
Exactly. And I got a critique one time from David Ellsworth, and it was a very positive response to something. I'd taken some fragments of stuff that had blown up or trash or whatever, fragments, of pieces, and ended up just placing them on a big mirror. I'd flattened them so they all kind of set up and looked like they were jutting out of water in different positions. And I think I just called it remnants or something like that. The one time I actually tried to do an art piece and name something like that because I'm a knuckle dragger. But he says, I really like where you're going with this. This is a really cool idea. Like I got a compliment like that from David Ellsworth. That's sweet. I scored.
Like I win. I'm done.
I'm done. Mic drop. I'm done.
Right. No, whenever they do the gallery critique, the instant gallery critique at the AAW, like I always sign up, like every single year. Like it doesn't matter if I'm really proud of my pieces or if it's just something I've been working on that I feel like bringing. Like every single time, like they have the critique, I'm in, because I want to hear what professional opinions are of my work. And it's not, I am not going for praise. I am not going for accolades. I am going to hear where I can improve. And that is one of the most important things that anybody can do, going back to critiques and everything. Yeah.
And I think the last couple symposia that I've been to, I have not been able, or not even had that in my mind, because I've been working, for doing demonstrators. Like, I can still take something, and it's like by the time I get there, it's like, oh yeah, I could have brought something to put in the critique gallery, I suppose. Oops. Next time. so next time there's an in-person symposium, I'm going to remind me to bring something to put in there, please.
Yes.
Because I value those opinions as well. So
yeah, I'm hoping to have a whole army going to SWAT. It's nice because I can actually drive to the SWAT symposium, and I have like my 2 black pieces that I finished recently, like over the last couple months. I've got a couple other like boring pieces. I've got a bunch of mini aquifers. 2 of them are going to be sent out pretty soon, but then I've got the other ones, and like just so many things. I'm working on teapots now, so I'm going to have a little army of walking teapots, and I'm just excited.
I'm enjoying that process. That's a fun process watching.
Yeah, it's exciting. And it all started with a collaboration. And that's another thing. If you don't do critiques and you're not interested in hearing feedback, like collaborate with somebody. Then you can actually improve and grow with somebody else at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I've started a collaboration way too long ago with Michael Gibson, who handed me a box. I think it was the last AAW, so 2 years ago now.
Oh, geez.
Sorry, Michael. And it's a teapot, and he left the band around the bottom so that I could keep working on it and add my legs to it. And I started the legs last summer, and now I'm working on the legs again this summer, and I've got the teapot sitting in my shop, waiting, just staring at. I just need it to cool down. That's all. I even told him I was going to try to finish it before the end of the year. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, collaboration and critique there are extremely important, and I think, and how everything has just gotten so emotionally charged the last few years. People are, especially with the proliferation of turners on YouTube or up and coming turners on YouTube, they don't understand that. They think that you're trying to bash them. It's like, no, and there's a whole new group of turners that have eons of followers who don't know how to take a critique. They think that you're trying to offer them some constructive pointers, especially offering them in a constructive manner. And I've got other stories along to go with that, but they think that you're trying to kind of bash on them. Although that's like, no, I'm trying to help you progress. It's like, for me, I know I'm not a big name, but in the turning community, but I know almost everybody, and it's like, I've been turning for almost 30 years. It's like I've been around the block. I know a few things. It's like so I'm trying to offer you some pointers here. And so go put on your long pants, put on your long sleeve, put on your actual shirt that covers everything, and get to work. So Rebecca, you know where I'm going with that one.
Yes. Oh yes.
And quit strategically placing your camera so we can see your backside. Or down or whatever,
Yeah, there are a couple Instagrams that I follow that I follow them just for the sheer entertainment value, and I don't think that they mean to be entertaining, but I'm just like, where is your dignity?
Like there's some I follow. I'm like, there's some I follow. I'm like going, these people are going to hurt themselves.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of want to see what happens. So it's kind of like the train accident. You can't look away. Train wreck. You can't look away from it. And so it's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
I can't not
like,
watch.
exactly. Please slow your lathe down just a little bit in this instance,
Yeah,
please.
just a tiny little bit.
And please don't stand in the line of fire. Oh, fine, just stand in the line of fire so if it comes off, it smacks you right in the face.
Right. Like, okay, maybe you'll learn.
Maybe not.
Maybe. Is there anything that you wanted to get to that we haven't talked about?
Looking through my list here because I made a list as well.
While Tim's looking, Michael, did you want to ask anything at all? I guess you did ask one thing.
Yeah, I did. No, I'm kind of flustered tonight, so
okay.
You covered everything pretty well.
Okay.
So I think based on the questionnaire you sent there, you didn't ask about the scope of my work, basically.
Tell us about that.
So basically, I do everything from practical because I like to be utilitarian. Because again, one of my primary instructors was Richard Raffet, so he does a lot of treenware, so stuff that's to be used. So I make a lot of spatulas. I do make bowls that can be used for bread or for food or whatever else. I do make things to be used, so I do like that as well. So I do everything that. I do some decorative. I'm always trying to learn how to apply the decorations of what I make to be appropriately decorative, if that makes sense. Again, that's kind of where I come in to be my own worst critic and something like that. That doesn't work. Throw that in the box over there. I've got several crates and boxes of things like I've made them. I go, just toss away. But then I also like to do, obviously, from the stuff I showed you earlier, I like to do silly stuff too. For the decorative stuff, I love. I've always been stuck on like Christmas ornaments. When I learned how to do little miniature hollowing, that's one of the things I've always been stuck on. And I can definitely tell my early ones when I've done my ornaments, and I kind of the person that kind of stuck me on that was Bob Rosant. I don't know that he does much turning or demonstrating anymore. It's been well over 13, 14 years or so. I demonstrated at one of the local symposia, the Desert Wood Turning Roundup. I don't think they have it anymore, but Bob Rosant was a demonstrator there. Or at least did. He was getting pretty elderly at that point as well. A lot of small scale miniature turning. So he did a lot of ornaments, and his work was just impeccable. He'd do miniature hollow forms with, again, the continuous shape that David Ellsworth was talking about without interruption. But he'd also use like natural branches for the pulls and the lids for like little miniature vases. Beautiful work. I think he offered me the biggest. He and Art Leeson both offered me the biggest encouragement early on when I was, because I was the local demonstrator for that symposium, and they were just like, you know what, we didn't get around because the symposium was so busy, but I heard really good things about your demonstrations. Just keep doing it. I saw your samples of your work during the banquet. Love what you're doing. Keep doing it. Just keep practicing. And I'm like, kind of, wow, cool. And at that point, I mean, I've been turning for a little while already, but have two of the bigger names in turning offer me that kind of critique or feedback and encouragement was pretty awesome. And last couple of times I've seen Art, he's always been, hey, how you doing? You know, and the fact that the artist that produces that quality work remembers who I am, always just amazes me. I'm always kind of humbled, and it's like, and I get humbled like that when we go to one of the symposiums like AAW. When I was walking by and saw Cindy and Mike talking to each other, Mike Mahoney, they're sitting there, and Cindy Rosa, they're sitting there, they're going, hey Tim, how's it going? I'm like, I've met you maybe once, and you're like, oh sweet, cool, they really remember me. That's awesome. And then the other person, we talked about this, and this was one of the ones that you and I cried about recently, when Mark Baker passed, and that's like the fact that I'd met him once at a symposium years ago, and he walked right up to me and goes, hey, I am so glad to see you here. How have you been doing? You know, it was I'm looking forward to seeing what you're doing now. I want to come by and see you. You doing okay? The fact that somebody who is that prevalent in the turning community, international turning community,
Yeah.
remembered me, and was, sorry, genuinely interested in me,
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
very humbling, very nice, and
Yeah.
that's one thing
It
I do
means
like about our community. Yeah.
exactly. And it means a lot too. Just the fact that they know who you are and they recognize who you are and they acknowledge all of
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why we have such a great community of people. It's
Yeah.
like out of every group and subgroup that I have been introduced to in any way, like this is by far the best.
Yeah. And that's why, I mean, I try to encourage the up and comers, the ones that are new now, who are making mistakes. Hopefully they'll move past them, since
Hmm.
we have the platforms we have now, and be able to be effective representation when we passed,
Hmm.
that kind of thing. So it's humbling. I try to be that person, but it's also the time to think, okay, I'm trying to help you here.
Just listen to me.
I grab them by the shoulders or almost by the ears sometimes. Like, listen to me.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm trying to help
Yeah.
you. Don't hurt yourself. what we do is dangerous enough. You're going to hurt yourself.
Exactly. Oh, and don't teach other people to do it that way either. Oh my God.
Yeah, some of these people are teaching classes. I'm like, oh, why? Why are you teaching?
Somebody asked me to. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's scary.
Well, even
So
after my years of
scary.
experience, people say, "Hey, can you show me?" I'm like, "You want me to teach you?" I really, because I turn fast. It's like you're probably not ready to turn that fast yet. So let's slow it down a little bit. I honestly, that's one of my biggest shortcomings right now. I need to learn how to teach again. It's been years since I've actually taught. I need to learn how to teach again. The only thing I've done is demonstrate. So it's like I have to remember that the demonstration is kind of like a non-interactive teaching session. So I have to remember
Mhm.
that as well. So I have to get to the. I think I get bored too. I get squirreled too easily. So it's like when I demonstrate or when I teach, it's like the last time I remember teaching was teaching a bowl class at a woodcraft. This lady was one of the participants had been a potter, so she'd been used to throwing bowls and things like that. But she was trying to get it wicked thin, and she's putting a lot way too much pressure on the rim. I'm like, no, 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 stop putting pressure. Split it. And she honestly just would not listen. So I stepped away for a minute, and her bowl exploded, and everybody around her was like ducking for cover. And she's and there was only like maybe 20 minutes left in the class, so she ended up leaving. I turned around after cleanup. There was a section of that bowl stuck in the wall.
Oh my God.
So I am so glad that was not in the line of fire of anybody. So it's like, man, because
Yeah.
that would have been painful to say the
Ye-
least.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if it's gonna go through the wall. Yeah, I had somebody in one of my classes who again just would not listen to any direction, thought that he knew what he was doing because he has a lathe at home, of course. So
Mhm.
he knows everything. Ended up throwing a skew across the room. Yeah. 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 And it landed right where somebody would have been if they were sharpening their tools at the time.
Oh
So
my gosh.
yeah. Yeah.
And I think those are my scary stories that I have, scary scenarios that I have in teaching. That's like they freak me out. Honestly, I'm like kind of going. There's always somebody, if not in every class, every couple of classes that thinks they know what they're doing, and it's like,
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah. And I was actually lucky because when I was teaching at Arrowmont in June,
mhm.
um, nobody had any idea what they were doing.
Well,
Nobody.
that's good.
That we didn't have any turners with really any experience enough that they would be like, yeah, I know, even though they
Right.
don't.
Right.
No, it was great. I had all beginners, and
Nice.
it was actually wonderful.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have any funny? I'm going to ask you. Do you have any funny teaching stories, Rebecca?
Well, other than just name calling.
Well, I'll
People
share one.
making fun of me and calling me by other female wood
Um,
turners names.
uh, Nice.
Excuse you?
No, I am me. Thank you. One of the funniest situations I had in a training class. I was teaching a bowl class at the local woodcraft, and it was a regular customer, super nice guy who was in there. He was a participant in the class, and I'm showing him how to do the cuts for the entry cuts and how to fluidly move through the cut. Well, I'm watching the cut, but I could see him in my peripheral vision where he was. So I started aiming the cut where all the shavings were hitting him. His wife happened to be sitting in the class watching the whole thing. Again, I knew these people. They were hysterical. Love these people. So she's sitting there, and he started moving. And every time he moved, I was moving. So every time he moved, I'm following him with the ribbons. and she's laughing because she could see me looking out of the corner of my eye watching him. And so every time he moved, I'm showering him. He stops and goes, "Are you doing that on purpose?" So yes, I am. It took him like several moves for him to figure out that I was targeting him and following him with the shavings on that to get him.
Yeah, and it takes skill to do that too. Not everybody can aim their shavings, and it's
Well,
it was funny.
I can
not
think
everybody.
I can think of at least one turner who can.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I must be missing a joke or something.
Oh, that's an after show kind of
we'll
thing.
Tell you in the
okay.
show.
Okay.
Speaking of after show,
yeah.
Is it that
I think
time?
I think we're getting close to an hour and a half now.
Oh my goodness.
Well, it's because Tim's so interesting.
Yes, it is.
Right. That's sad.
Okay, Tim. Tim, do you have any dad jokes, or did you send them all to me?
I think I have dad jokes that I did not send to you two.
What?
I
You're
don't
holding
believe
out?
you.
I know. How many do you want?
What you got?
I've got 2 or 3 here. So I'll start with this first one. It says, "I just found out the company that makes yardsticks won't be making them any longer."
Why?
Oh
my God.
That one has to be in the edit, please.
Think about it.
That was great. I like that one. Sorry. So, did you? And I have a dad joke for the after show as well. So, did you know that Yoda has a last name? It was Leahy.
Leahy, yeah.
What do you call a factory that makes okay products? A satisfactory.
That's great.
What kind of shoes does a chicken wear?
What kind?
Reebok box.
That's great. I like Reebok box. That's a good one.
Never buy flowers from a monk. Only you can prevent florist friars.
Oh. Well, the last one I have is kind of along the lines of the whole reason you got Karen, Rebecca, if you're okay with this one.
Yeah.
Why was Darth Vader referred to as Lord Vader?
Why?
Because Master Vader made all the stormtroopers giggle.
Ba-dum-cha.
That's the one I was going to do for the after show, but I figured, why not?
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, that's funny. I like it.
Tim, why don't you tell listeners where they can find you online?
On Facebook, you can find me at Tim Wadley, just me. It's mostly my personal stuff there. I do post some of my work there, but it's mostly my family and silly stuff that I post there. but I do post my work there. But you can find me on at Turning by Tim also on Instagram. But my primary work can be found on Instagram at Turning by Tim, and I think my Etsy is also Turning by Tim. But I'm going to start working on that to start pumping that up as well. So,
are there any spaces in that, or is it all one word?
All one word. Just like me, all one word. Just Turning by Tim.
And Rebecca?
You can find me all over the place. Specifically,
in so many ways.
Specifically,
so many different
Rebecca
ways.
Yeah, figure it out. Oh, jeez. Rebecca DeGroot on YouTube and Facebook, although I haven't posted much on YouTube in this year. Instagram, Rebecca_DeGroot. My website is still under construction, although Henry did say he would do that for me. So, fingers crossed. Yeah. What else do I have? I think that's it. Oh, I've got a Redbubble and what's the other one? Etsy as well. But Etsy, I also need to work on mine. It's Rebecca DeGroot Studio, no spaces, and Redbubble, Rebecca DeGroot Studio with spaces. Yeah, which maybe you'll be able to find these awesome dinosaur plaque necklaces coming soon.
Nice.
Yeah, these will be so cool. Oh my god, I'm so excited. They're already cured. I'm ready to turn it into a necklace and wear it out on the town.
Are they so fluffy?
No, not yet.
Oh,
I can give some of them like a little fur band around the neck, like a little fur mohawk. It's gonna be great.
Could you possibly do the little chest burster from Alien?
Oh,
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, when I did this, Mike, I'll let you get to your sharing as well. When I did the actual mold around the dinosaur, Henry kept looking at it and he's like, "Have you seen Alien or like the Alien Predator movies?" And I was like, "I've watched Alien versus Predator," and he's like, "That looks like an alien egg sack because this is my mold." It's just like a dinosaur with a mold wrapped around its body because all I wanted was the head. And I was like, I was really sad this morning because I knew that I could get a really good cast of the head if I just cut the head off. But I was like, but those are my toys. I don't want to cut the head off of my dinosaurs.
What are you going to have left to go rah, rah, rah with?
Exactly. Rah.
What was the spoof space show where the alien popped out and started saying, "Hello, my baby"? Hello.
Spaceballs.
That's right. I love that movie.
Mm-hmm. I'm Mog. I'm half man, half dog. I'm my own best friend.
Mog. Yeah, we're kind
my
of.
My name's Barf.
Barf. We're definitely dorks in this family. It's okay.
Yes.
I watch way too much TV and too many movies, so.
We all do. And as for me, Lost River Pens on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, kinda. I haven't put anything new up there for probably a year at least. And lostriverpens.com. Anybody have anything else to add? Tim might be back for a part 2 in the coming weeks.
Okay.
If he's willing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always enjoy interacting with everybody. So especially since we can't, it's harder to get together still. It's still difficult. I would say it's happening more and more, but it's still difficult to get together. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob's on the road a bunch here in the coming future, and I think we may have teased Holly too much. She may not come back on. I don't know.
You may have to bleep out a bunch of hers.
Yeah, probably. All right, so I believe that's it for this week. Everybody have a good time out in your shop. Just make sure not to overdo it in the heat. Wear your pants and stay out of the line of fire.
Exactly.
Wise
Duck.
words from Mr. Wadley.
Duck. Work on your reflexes. Reflex training, right?
Yeah. All right. We will talk to you soon. Everybody have a great week. Bye.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.